I'm going to press record and let's go. Welcome to Who to Hire and When to Fire, the second webinar in the 8th series of the Work Less, Earn More module that you're taking part in. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the first step is know thyself. Because if you don't know thyself, if you don't know who you really are and what direction you want to be going in, then it's going to be very difficult to attract to you the kind of people to support you. I mentioned this in the first webinar, and we're going to go a bit deeper on that today, just to clarify a few points that I didn't have time to talk about in the initial webinar. Where to hire. We're going to talk about a couple of websites and a couple of places where to get help. And as you know, I'm not the you have to outsource to the Philippines kind of guy. For me, it's all about making things happen for you and for you to get the success that you really want in your business and in your life. The third step is testing and selection. So basically, who to hire, when to fire. So slow to hire, quick to fire kind of thinking. The ability, which is very important for entrepreneurs, is the ability to let go and let other people do things for you. And that can be very difficult. So we're going to talk a little bit more about a couple of techniques on how to do that. And the fifth part is all about the golden rule. And as always, I'm trying to break down business into simple steps. And I always look back in history to do that, because I believe that nothing fundamentally has changed. We have different channels, we have more technology, we have smartphones now. But in the end, people are people, and we're always going to be people. So by understanding that principle, it makes it more easy for us to be good leaders, to be good business owners and CEOs, and manage a team. Um, and I'm going to talk about experiences that I've had in successfully running my businesses based on the principles of the golden rule. Know thyself is actually a text which is about 4,000 years old, and it was found on the temple of Apollo in Delphi. And we can also see this in all religions, as well as in the film The Matrix, where he goes to the fortune woman, and he looks at above the door, and there it says, "Know thyself." And the fortune lady has just told him, you're the one. No, you're not the one. And she does that because then he lets go and becomes the one. Clarity is power, and by truly knowing who you are, you will get massive power. And I believe that real power comes from getting clear on who you truly are. And you do that by confronting the truth about you, by confronting the shadows in your life. And you don't have to do that all in one day, you don't have to do that all in 1 year. But it's starting the process of eliminating the shadows of your life. Basically, when I say shadows, um, it's like light and darkness. So everybody has a shadow, some kind of issues or problems that we're working on. And but it's only by confronting those shadows that you really get to the next level. And you can call it sort of a paradigm shift. And in effect, that's what we're working on here on the course, is for you to get a paradigm shift in your life, to get from where you are to where you want to be. And that's why I start off here with the whole know thyself and clarity is power principle. There are many ways of figuring this out. Anything from really old principles that are 4,000 or 5,000 years old to talent dynamics. I just want to check here really quickly. You can all hear me okay, and you can see my screen, right? Just type that into if somebody could type that into the question box, that would be amazing. The first time I did a webinar 1 year ago, I had about 100 people on the call, and I actually forgot to share my screen, so it was kind of like a radio broadcast. And on GoToWebinar, you actually have to scroll down on the questions to be able to see them. And it was my first time, so I didn't know about that. But that's okay. as we'll see later. You only, it's okay to fail if you learn from it. Um, just to get back on topic here, there are many ways of doing personality tests, and you may have done a couple already, but they're all based on the same principle. So what I'm going to talk about in the next slide is the Taoist elements and how they will help us get to know ourselves, but also help us identify what kind of person we're employing and working with and negotiating with. So it's a powerful principle that you can use in business and in life. It's also important to know that there are different types of entrepreneurs. You have the idealist, the veteran, the warrior, the rescuer, the adventurer, the creative, the controller, or the magician. I suggest that you Google the archetypes of entrepreneurs. I actually got that from a great article, and I'm sure if you Google that, you will find it later on. So the Taoist elements are something like 5,000 years old, and there are 5 different elements. Usually there's only shown 4 elements, which is water, earth, air, and fire. But I've actually added an element here because I feel like if you go even further back, that element is actually lacking. So fire, wind, water, earth, and ki. Ki is basically the ability to be neutral. So it's actually stillness, the ability to just observe the world. But first and foremost, I want to talk about water. If you've ever been to Greece or Athens, there's a mound in the middle of Athens, which is called the St. Michael's Mound. And if you stand on top there, you get a 360 view of the city of Athens, and it actually just flows everywhere. It's sort of nobody planned all the roads and the buildings that were built in Athens, but it sort of naturally happened. Um, so the way to think about a person based in the water element is a person that's a bit it's a bit difficult to grasp. So an important thing to mention here before I go deeper into the different elements is that we actually all have these elements. We all have the ability to be water, to be earth, to be air, to be fire, and to be ki. And we're predominantly one of them. So when I started in business, I was incredibly fiery. I was so passionate. I was a go go go, and I worked 16, 18-hour days. Sleep wasn't important to me. I cut out friends. I just wanted to focus on my business and make a bunch of money. And I was go 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 all the time. I had trouble sleeping, and I think you notice when you're around a fiery person because they have so much energy. They have this explosive energy. And important to know about the fire element is it's kind of like a sprinter. So if you imagine that water is more like a marathon runner that can run for hours and hours and hours. The Okay, Raheem, you can't see the slides. Um, does everybody else see the slides? Okay. I will be sending a replay of this. I think other people can see the slides. So what you can do, Raheem, is actually close the webinar and then log in again, because that will reset the system. Okay, so please try to do that. And in any case, we are sending you a replay later on. But try to do that first and see if that works. And okay, fantastic. So when I started in business, I was full of fire, and the important thing is to know is that there's a reason why it's called burnout. So I was on fire for a long time, and I basically I did get burnt out. And what happened was that I became more of a watery kind of person. So the kind of person um, that gets to its destination, but gets there in a way which is more in sort of flowing motion, so to speak. So I had to learn to let go, which we're going to talk more about later on. But I actually had to learn the skill to let go of my fiery element. And now I still have my fire. You know, if you saw me talk at the Ultimate Traffic Generation Summit, I can be fiery, but I'm not like that all the time. Afterwards, I was more in the water element again. Um, so a person based in the water element is difficult to grasp. He or her will always get to their destination by flowing there. And it's actually impossible to stop water, because water will grind down anything, and it will go into any crack and drip through on the other side. So water has the sort of persistency. So it's a marathon runner, and it also has the ability to stick with something over a long period of time. Um, and I've become more like that in my business. I've become more relaxed in terms of that. I know that I will get there if I just spend enough time working on it. And I'm always working on improving and getting better at something. And I take the time to do it. Another way of looking at that is during the Second World War, when the Nazis invaded Russia, the Russians did the burnt earth strategy. So basically, they just lured the Germans into Russia because they knew that the winter was coming. So what they did was they killed off all everything that could be eaten. They killed, and they burnt everything else, so that there was nothing for the Germans to eat. So they ran out of supplies, and then the winter came, and then they died. That is a water strategy. A fire strategy would be to be very, very aggressive, straight on, point blank, and take massive action today. Um, that's kind of what I have on the water and fire element. I hope that makes sense to you. Um, the earth element is the kind of person that is very, very stubborn. Is superb, Raheem. I'm glad it's working. Um, the earth element is very, very grounded. It's one of those people where you can discuss something with, but they will stick to. It's kind of like politicians on TV. They're earth. They're just going to stick to their point, and it doesn't matter what the other person's saying. And I'm sure we all have friends like that. Maybe we know somebody like that personally, right? I can be stubborn when it comes to certain things, but it's not my predominant element. My predominant element is now water. It used to be fire. It's actually possible to shift these, and as you grow, you might shift into another element. So the earth is very grounded, it's very stable, and if you have two people that are earth discussing something, nothing will happen. And this is important to know if you're doing a negotiation in your business. If you're negotiating a contract and you have two people that are based in earth negotiating, nothing will really happen. The air element is the creative, right? It's everywhere and nowhere. It can be full of wind, and then it can be stillness at the same time. And it's very the air people that are in air are very difficult to grasp, because they're always blowing one direction or the other, right? So they'll be on one side, and they'll be on the other side, and they have the ability to see things from both sides. There's an important thing to know about this, and that there's positives and negatives in all these elements. And that's why it's important to understand that, because when you're working with people, you need to say, oh, that person's a kind of earth person, that's a kind of air person, that's a fiery person. And then you know how they are. And you can also use this in terms of checking your state. Tony Robbins talks about states. You can relate your states to these elements. So for instance, with the key, sometimes you're just thinking about life and the meaning of life, and that's what you want to talk about. So, for instance, a person that's a predominantly key person uh, can be very spiritual, and if he or she holds out a glass and she asks you, "Do you think the glass will fall or not?" They will answer maybe, because they're not going to say yes or no until they see proof of it. Key people can be very detached, and they're also they have this ability to stand in neutral, and neutral means that they have this ability to observe the world for what's happening, right? So they're very good at observing the elements. But the negative thing is that if you go too much into key, you're going to end up sitting on a mountain meditating and not paying your bills or taking care of your kids. Yeah, so that kind of type can go and to a Buddhist temple for a year and not take care of their bills because they're, you know, that's not necessary because I'm okay. I'm in a zen state. So we all have these elements, and just ask yourself, you know, what kind of element am I predominantly, and use this when you observe other people and say, oh, I get it. He's an air kind of person. And a technique that I've used quite a lot before difficult meetings and such is that I actually go into the earth element and say, now I'm going to be grounded. I'm going to stick to my point. So, for instance, we had some neighbors that were really noisy, and I said, okay, I'm going to be in the earth element when I talk to them because I want to be firm. I'm not interested in negotiating, and I'm just going to say what I have to say, and I'm right. Yeah, so I chose that element to go talk to them, and it works, and people can sense what element you're in. Okay. I suggest that everybody here does take the talent dynamics test. I do not. This is not like an affiliate thing for me or anything like that. This link is not an affiliate link, but I'm actually going to send you an affiliate link later on. It's the same price. We just make 20% and they don't. So you can choose, basically. But it's tdprofiletest.com, and you just click on take the test, and then you get emailed a PDF with your Talent Dynamics profile. And it's just a really nice way of figuring out what kind of person you are. And it's actually based on the Taoist elements. And that's what I like about it. I like that it's based on those elements, which keeps it simple. If you're an entrepreneur, you're likely to be a creator or a star, but you might also be an accumulator, a deal maker. You can be an entrepreneur in all these elements. I'm just saying the predominant amount of people that are entrepreneurs are very creative and they're stars. So if you take the test and you're something else, that could be a good thing. But at least now you know about it and you can be grounded in that, and that gives you power and strength. And this is important in terms of understanding your business as well, because this is the most basic blueprint of any business. It's like like if you're making a car, this is the outside drawing of the car. And on the inside, there's going to be another drawing that is going to be a bit more complex. But I like showing this because it's the rule of fours. So if you were at the Ultimate Traffic Generation Summit this weekend, I believe his name was Priestley, the person that talked after me, he talked about the rule of four. And any business needs the rule of four. You need sales and marketing, operations, and admin, and then you need to be the CEO, or you have a CEO running things for you. And the important thing to know here is that these different kinds of people will be different. They will have different elements. So, for instance, in sales and marketing, you'll probably have somebody that's a fiery kind of person. In operations and admin, you maybe want more, especially in admin, you want somebody that's quite earthy, right? And in operations, you might want maybe it's a creative company, and that's all. Operations is also where innovation happens. It can happen in marketing as well, but just to prove a point, that could be the wind element, and as the CEO could be a water element, right? So that's, you can use the elements in business in this kind of way also, and in terms of looking for people. So in my business, Sheena is my admin, Rimon's the CEO, Eduardo's operations, and Dax is sales and marketing. And it's the rule of four again. I mentioned that the best jazz bands in the world, they're always groups of four, because imagine you're at a dinner party and you're four people, and then a fifth person comes, the conversation immediately splits. So if you want good communications, follow the rule of four in building your business. And these are the building blocks of your business. You don't have to start with all of them. I suggest that what we need to do is that you actually start with Jason Priestley. Yes, thank you, Frederick. That's right. Thank you. So what you need to do is, like, you'll be the CEO in the beginning, and you might want to start with finding one person to do your sales and marketing. and then find somebody to do the admin and operations. Or you can get like all of them at once, depending on what you need, and your business blueprint. Most small businesses don't do enough sales and marketing, and that's why they don't grow. Um, every business needs a mama and a papa. That is basically, again, I'm trying to just break it down really simple. So in my image editing business, the mama is Sheena, and my papa is Rimon. And the mama, she's like the person that everybody can come to with their problems. So it's the yin side of the yin yang symbol, right? She's like the feminine, and she listens to people, and she supports people, and she cares about people. And then you have the young side, which is the papa. In this case, it's Rimon, and he keeps people in line. He makes stuff happen, and he takes that kind of direct action. So the female here will be more soft and gentle, and the male will be more sort of masculine about things. And the reason why you need a mama and a papa in your business is because it makes it a more stable environment for your employees to be in, because they need to be able to talk to both sides. I also want to say, when it comes to business and also employees and knowing yourself, we live in an instant society, where it's all instant coffee. It's get slim in 30 seconds. It's instant apps, instant success, instant everything. And I mentioned compounding in the book, and also in the first webinar, and the importance of it. One of the examples that I use to understand compounding is like, if you travel to work every day, and you just walk the steps instead of standing in the escalator, that's a workout. Like, that can be a massive workout. Just walk, instead of getting the car and driving to your meeting, walk to the meeting. That'll give you the exercise that you need. So, and also that will compound over time. We talked about the traffic example of, if you spend 2 hours in traffic every single day driving to work, that's actually a month of your life every single year. And that's why it's so great to have an internet business, because then you can work from home, or you can choose to travel to work after rush hour. So when I lived in San Francisco, I always drove into San Francisco around 10:30, because that's when I'd calculated that there was less traffic, right? So it's important to think long term and think in terms of compounding. And what I think Mark Twain said, if you find yourself on the opposite side of the majority, you're doing everything right. So if everybody's trying to do something instant, try to do something long term, and you will be successful. Because the hour you're spending here today might not seem like a big deal, but you're actually choosing to be here and learning instead of doing something else. And if you want to be a success in business, you do need to compound your knowledge, and um, keep on learning these key skills that really add massive value. You might not see a big shift the next week, but I can tell you what, like in 3 to 6 months, if you take action on the things that we're working on, you will see a big difference. Now, the turtle wins the race, not the hare. There's a really funny Disney cartoon with the turtle and the hare, and you can YouTube it afterwards. But the whole concept of that is that the hare is like showing off and running about, and talking to the ladies and doing all the kind of stuff that he shouldn't be doing, and the turtle's just kind of pacing along, and the turtle wins. There's a great interview with Puff Daddy where he says, "I'm not a sprinter. I'm a marathon runner. Right? I'm not a sprinter. I'm a marathon runner, and that's why I succeed." That's his words. And a lot of entrepreneurs that start off just like I started off, we're on fire, right? We're going to make this happen straight away. But be careful so you don't burn out. Become a marathon runner. Think long term, not only with your own success, but also with your relationships with your employees and the people that you're going to employ. Yeah, don't just throw people away when you don't need them anymore. Think long term. You can build a really great relationship with your team, and then if you do that, they will serve you long term. In fact, one of the biggest costs of business is training. finding new people and training. It's a big cost. So if you think long term with your people, they will stick with you for a much longer time. The second step is that we live in a global economy and we can find people all over the world. And today we're going to talk a bit about the global talent pool and where to find people. But first, there's one thing you must never, ever, ever save on in business. Never save money on lawyers and accountants. I have tried to do both. That has cost me a lot of time and a lot of pain and burnt friendships because I didn't use lawyers to write proper contracts. And I've made that mistake for you, so now you don't have to. In terms of accountants, I would much rather not go on holiday a year. I would rather spend that money on an accountant because it isn't, unless you're an accountant on this call, of course, you should not be wasting your money on, you have to spend money on accountants, okay? Because they're good at what they do. They're based in the earth element. Lawyers and accountants are earthy, right? They're going to tell you, this is the rules and you have to do it like that. And I tell you what, that is cool because you need those two parts of your business working really well. And when you meet with an accountant and a lawyer, really bond with them. Take them out for lunch, because I find when I do most of my business deals over lunch, because I find people have a very different, you can create a very different relationship over lunch rather than in a sort of business setting. People put their shoulders down and they become more friendly, and you talk about who you really are, and then you can find out what element they're in and what they really want in life, and then you can align your goal with their goal, and everything will work better. So try to find a lawyer and an accountant that you really bond with. And I have the same lawyer and the same accountant for years now. It's very expensive to swap accountants. So make sure that the accounting company you use, that they've been around for a while, and that the employee that you hire is a balanced person. So basically somebody that has been in the job for 6 or 7 years, that's established with the family and is likely to stay in the firm, because it's actually very expensive to have to reteach all your processes to your new accountant. Where and who to hire? Who here wants to know how to hire a Harvard graduate for $15 an hour? Well, this is what you do. You post a classified ad in the Harvard University School magazine, and you say, who would you like to travel the world and make money at the same time? Because if you're able to align your goals with somebody else, it doesn't really matter where they work from as long as they deliver on what they do. And you manage that through the daily update. Okay, so it's more about being creative in terms of finding talent and offering them a deal that they want, rather than trying to do it the simple way. Okay, so be creative about how you hire and find people. Make sure that you're not hiring plumbers to fix cars. You might recognize this slide from before, but I believe repetition is the mother of all skill. So you're already outsourcing, but don't get plumbers to fix cars. So don't ask somebody that can't do something to do something. Try to find the talent that you need in the given situation. Searchable is a company that is brilliant. I have a PA working for me at Searchable, and it's a brilliant company. It's actually funded by Tony Hsieh, the guy that started Zappos, that was acquired by Amazon for $1 billion. It's kind of funny saying $1 billion. It's kind of like the what have you, Austin Powers films. But anyway, Searchable is a brilliant company. You can pay $97 and you can get somebody in the US working for you. So if you want, like, if you need to do high end tasks, you can hire somebody there, and they can do stuff for you. Okay, and they have lots of great plans, and I've been using their service for about 2 years now, and I'm very, very happy about it. I'm very happy with the service, and I think at the moment they're actually full. So get on their waiting list and try them out. So searchable.com. I want to give you some homework. I want you to try and buy your first gig on Fiverr. It's a very simple way. It's very simple to register. You just go to Facebook, log in, and then you browse. This doesn't have to be work related, guys. It can be make a logo for your company. And what I would do for that is, first of all, you search logo, and then you find the ones with the most ratings. Okay, find out who's done the most gigs, and also make sure that they can deliver within a reasonable amount of time, because some of the people that are really popular, they post about, they can deliver in 2 weeks. So you can go a bit mid-range if you want to get a quicker delivery. So homework for you is actually go after this webinar, go and buy something on Fiverr. Start practicing that outsourcing muscle. And it doesn't have to be anything sensible. It can be something silly if you want. It's only $5. I just want you to start doing this. I want you to start leveraging other people like this, and trying out the software. If I was to order a logo for my business, I would order it from 3 different people on Fiverr, and then I would choose the best one. It'll just save you time. Instead of fiddling with that one person, try 3 people, do the testing stuff. And then once you found a good person, you can send them more work, right? Just like I did when I started in the Philippines. I had 30 people, then I chose to hire 5 for a month, and then I stuck with 1 person after that. One thing that I want to suggest to all of you, once you have your VA in place in the Philippines, is why not list your service on all these different websites? Why not list your service on Fiverr, right? Maybe you charge more than $5 for what you do, but it's a great way to get natural leads. So the first task for your VA in the Philippines can be list your business on all these websites. TaskRabbit is a micro arbitrage website where you can get people to do little tasks for you. My dad, he's always the kind of guy that he wants to wash his own car, he wants to fix his own stuff, he wants to build his own fence. And we all know people like that. Maybe we know them very well. Maybe it's us, right? We're all guilty of doing things ourselves. But it's important in terms of the principle of how you do anything is how you do everything. Start outsourcing little tasks and start using the kind of systems that you have available online, because then you'll start getting used to the mindset of asking yourself, how can I get somebody else to do this for me? So try out TaskRabbit. And I'm not sure if they're in London yet. I used to use them in San Francisco, but try to use that system. And once you have your VA in place, start getting them to list your business on all these websites, because it'll be good for your SEO, and it'll also be a nice sales lead channel in your marketing funnel. Okay, you'll start getting leads from it. Elance is a sort of a general website, and you can get people to do anything there. You can basically let's see, there's some questions here. DVD cover, fantastic, Frederick. That's a good idea. Yes, you can skip the homework of buying stuff on Fiverr, Mark, if you've already done it before. Fantastic. Okay, so Elance is a more general website where you can get people to do anything for you. It's just make sure that if you order a job from somebody that has a long reputation, let's say they've done about 1,000 or 500 or 100 jobs, they'll be more expensive. And if you want to do a better deal, you can get somebody that's done about 10 to 50 jobs, because they'll be more hungry for work, while the one that's done 500 to 1,000, they sort of have their customer base already, so they'll be more busy, and because they're more busy, they're more expensive. But Elance is a great place, and our image editing company is listed there, and we do get jobs through that occasionally. Odesk is a platform which is more about sort of creatives, creative work. You can get your copywriters there and things like that. Odesk actually has 2 cool pieces of software. One is that once you hire somebody, they actually have to do a screen capture of their work, so you can check that they're working. I've never used that kind of software because I base my relationships on knowing who I am and knowing the other person. So I try to see the person. I try to align their goals with mine, and therefore I trust and have faith that they will serve me in a good way. Um, but if you want to try Odesk, know that there is a screen capturing software for the freelancers working for you. So you do have in fact proof that they're doing the job. They also have a really cool thing called Harvest, which actually um, it's a cool billing system. So they'll automatically send you an overview of the hours that they've been working for you. It's also a way for you to you can also do that with your employee in the Philippines, to just fill in Harvest and then send it to you. That's harvest.com, I believe, and I think it's free for one person. So check that out. Freelancer.com is mostly technology. I used Freelancer for the first time about I think it was 2006, and found a great person. That company has actually been bought by another company now. But if you need programmers and stuff like that, then freelancer.com is a good place to go. I believe there's also a freelancer.net, which is a UK based one, where I've also found programmers before. For finding people in the Philippines, I have sent you the PDF of the outsourcing mastery book, 17 Secrets on How to Outsource to the Philippines. The three main websites is solid.com.ph, onlinejobs.ph. Onlinejobs.ph, you actually have to pay a fee to get access to the people. I believe it's about $50. Craigslist is free, and what you can start doing once you have your VA in place and you see that you need more people, you can actually you can get them to post ads on Craigslist and all these other websites to find more people. So you can actually have your outsourcers source people for you on these websites, so that you can have them go to Odesk, go to Elance, and find people for you. So that's just one idea that you can get them to do for you. In terms of recruitment in the Philippines, you have your VA list now, and we're also looking for that one special person. And of course, if you do need more people, you can always ask us, and we will find that for you for a fee. Testing and selecting. It's important to know that this is an everlasting process, and the more you do it, the better your business will run, the better you will run, and the better your employees will work. So test, measure, tweak, okay? And that's a repetitive process. And in terms of testing and selection, I want to say that how you do anything is how you do everything. John Wooden, the legendary UCLA basketball coach, said that, and it's one of the principles I live by. It's actually one of my incantations as well. I think about this a lot, and I do try to live by it. So, in terms of testing and selection, pay attention to people early on. If you notice that something's a bit odd, then act on it. Let's see. Is a question here? Okay, I'll answer that later, Frederick. It's a good question. Very good question. So always testing and measuring, and note if you notice that something's a bit off with somebody, that's a good sign that you need to talk to them. Don't just push it off. Set them down, ask them, you did this, and what's going on, right? In terms of working in a global economy, I just want to say I feel like we're all kindred spirits. We all have more or less the core values, beliefs, needs, and goals, like deep down. Yes, there's cultural stuff. We talked about how Filipinos are very polite, and they get easily embarrassed and things like that. But deep down, we're all human. And I think it's important to know that when we work in a global economy, and try to see people for who they are. They'll still have one of the main 5 elements in them, and you can spot that. You can tell once you're familiar with these elements, you can use them in recruitment. One of the things I always do with new employees, especially management, I don't actually do all the hiring in my companies, but if it's a key hire in my company, then I always send them the 3 most important questions sheet, and you can find that on if you Google the 3 most important questions. It's also in my book. So if you have the PDF, you can just press Control F and then put in 3 most important questions. Then you'll find the page number really fast. But basically, what we want in life is experiences, growth, and contribution. And I actually send this out because I want to align what kind of experiences I want, what kind of growth I want, and what kind of contribution I want to make in the world with my new hire. Because I find that if we can be aligned, then we can work together for a long time, and long-term relationships in terms of your business is actually a benefit, especially when it comes to key personnel. So send them that and then get them to fill it in and send back to you. And then if you send it to your Filipino, they'll be honest with you, right? And try to see what parts of experiences, growth, and contribution you also want. And then you can make that happen. So for instance, with Regina, that you all are familiar with now, we wrote a book called Outsourcing Mastery. Okay, that's a book written by both me and Regina. And the reason why I knew about that she wanted to write a book was because under growth she'd written, I would like to write and publish a book. And we did that together, and I knew about that, and we could make that happen because we were aligned in that, we needed a book on outsourcing to the Philippines, and she actually had that on her goal list to do that. And of course, when we have that kind of synergy, it creates a better relationship. You can also send them talent dynamics tests, which I showed earlier. It'll give you an indication of how they fit into your team, and it's probably worth spending the $20 or $50 that it costs for them to do the test, so that you can see, like, oh, it's this kind of person, right? Now we've screened the people that you're getting, so that's cool, but not with this test, but with our own system. And but with future hires, you might want to consider doing that. The daily update is a really great indicator of what kind of person you have. So if they say yes to sending it and they don't, I actually I pay attention to that. Because with me, it's always 3 strikes, you're out. So if you forget one day, that's okay. I'll let you know that you have to send it. And I'll also let you know that you have 1 strike. If you get 2 more strikes, you're out. That helps people respect you, and it also creates a framework of rules. And you can say that at the very beginning. You can say, I don't want you to fear me because of this, but you do need to know that the way I work with people is that I always give them 3 chances. And with the daily update, it is important that you send it. So if somebody's really ill or something really bad happened, like let's say there's a flood or something, I wouldn't give them a strike because they couldn't really do it. But if it's just a bad excuse and you'll know, then give them a strike and then say you have 2 more chances. And if you can't deliver on that, I have to find somebody else. And we talked about this earlier, but measure your employees. Birds of feather flock together. So on the top, always recycle your worst performing employees and replace someone with somebody the top performer recommends. So it's actually something that I want to talk to you about. If you're coming to the boot camp in London on the 12th to the 13th of October, then it's an exercise we'll go through, and it's called the Vampire, Zombie, and Saint exercise. But basically, we can categorize all people into vampires, zombies, and saints. Vampires are the kind of people that suck the blood out of you. I think we all are familiar with those kind of people. You're in a room with them and you just feel them drain you of energy. Zombies are people that are just there. They're just sort of a bit they're just there, and they just walk around and you don't really notice them. And then the saints are the kind of people that you want to be around, the kind of positive people that are adding value to your life and other people's life. And try to avoid having not zombies, but vampires in your business, because they can kill your business. They can infect everybody else and really pull the business down with you. So if you spot a vampire in your business, then get rid of them really, really fast. Another word for vampires can be psychopaths. And I have actually started a business with a psychopath and I do not recommend that any of you do that, because it's one big black hole. Measure. What gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed gets done. With the daily update, you need to add that they need to add how many hours they work every single day, because it's important to know, and it's a way to keep them accountable. Just like when I work with you in the coaching, you have to fill out the coaching form. That is a way for you to hold yourself accountable, and me also to hold yourself accountable. That is also why we have the coaching forms, right? Because that's a way for me to measure how many coachings we've done, and also keep track of everything. So try to measure things. As the more you can measure, the more the better you manage your company. It gives you optics. Letting go. Letting go is a difficult one, not only in business but in our own life. But what I've found is that the more I let go and let other people do work, the better I feel and the freer I am. And part of that is actually allowing people to fail. And Malcolm Forbes said, failure is success if we learn from it. So when you start working with your new employee, when you start giving them tasks to do, allow a bit of failure. I honestly believe that we deep down always try to do our best for somebody else. We're always trying to please in the best way we can possible to serve our fellow humans. And so have some slack there, and remember that it's only by failing that we truly learn, and it turns into success if we learn from it. Stephen Covey has a concept called sharpen the saw. He's got two concepts I really like: start with the end and sharpen the saw. And when something fails, it's a great opportunity to improve how you're working. So don't bring yourself down if something's not working. If your first employee needs a bit of time to work with you to learn what you do, then remember, it is like sharpening the saw. The more you train them, the better you work with them, the more the better it can, the more money you will make, basically. I hope that makes sense. So sharpen the saw is a very important element when you start working with employees. And the more you sharpen the saw, the more you can be a business owner. The less you have to deal with people in your business. So the better you train people and the better systems you have running in your business, and the more sharpen the saw you do, the better your system will run. And I believe failure is a big part of that. So the process is find talent. We've talked about that. Well, first of all, it's know thyself, which we talked about. That's a long process, but we've started it today. And I also work with you on the coaching calls about that. Find talent. I've shown you places to find talent. You can get them to build your system for you. Okay? You can get them to build your system for you. But don't get plumbers to fix cars. And then sharpen the saw. And the more you sharpen the saw, the more money you will make. The fifth step here is the golden rule. And I try to live by this in my own life, and also with my employees. And I think it's a simple rule as a manager and a leader to follow. Basically, pay people on time. If you want people to be on time yourself. If you want people to be kind to you, then be kind to other people, and so on and so forth. And I think about this in how I work with people. And my goal is always to add as much value to the other person as I possibly can, while still, of course, you have to take care of yourself, because then you can't add a lot of value to other people. But add as much value as you can to other people, and that value will come back to you. Business is really about relationships. Okay, that's why I talked about aligning your goals and dreams with the three questions with their goals and dreams, because then you have a better relationship. And that's what business really is really about. It's about people solving problems together for other people for a price and profit. So the more you know yourself and the more you know about other people, the better that collaboration will work. The more freedom you will have, and the more money you will make. And it's really about that. The letting go part is really about empowering other people, allowing people to do their best. And if you have an IT guy, call him your IT manager or a CTO. Give them a title, right? And empower them by allowing failure. And as part of that, I want to say it's really important to try to create win-win situations. One way I did that with the book was that I co-wrote it with Regina, and that meant a lot to her, and it meant a lot to me as well. Create magic moments. Magic moments is when you just give somebody a bonus for no reason whatsoever. Magic moments is when you just buy your partner flowers for no apparent reason. Magic moments is when you do something for somebody unexpectedly, and you don't need a reason to do it. Just do it, and do that with your employees. This month, we're paying. Basically, one of the managers got ill, and somebody else stepped up and said, Erland, everything's cool. I'm in charge here. I'm going to manage this for you, right? And she's been a key part of the team for a long time, and I just decided to pay her a triple salary because she that not because she said step up and all that. I just wanted to surprise her with something, and it was unexpected, and she was very, very happy about getting that bonus out of the blue. So try to create magic moments for your employees, and they will do really great work for you. Try not to give negative feedback, okay? Because what I do is I always give positive feedback first. Then I talk about how we can improve things. I've never really found that being negative towards others has served me in any way or the other. And so try to focus on how you can work better and better with somebody. But of course, sometimes you have to let people know. Sometimes you actually have to go, this was really bad. I know you can do better. Yeah. Sometimes you have to let people know. But I always think that giving positive feedback first, and then after that, talking about how things can improve is a good way to work. And remember, three strikes, you're out anyway, right? So where to hire and when to fire? I think the first step for all of us is to be on path. When I say be on path, is we need to know what we want to do and where we want to go, because that attracts people to you. If you think about it, Richard Branson quit his school education when he was 16, and he attracted all these amazing people to him that actually built his company for him. Now, I'm not saying you have to be Richard Branson. I'm just saying you have to be you, because if you're true to yourself and if you're you, you will get the people that you are needing to you. And there's a global talent pool out there, and there are people that are meant to be working with you and building your company. Because not everybody wants to be entrepreneurs. Not everybody wants to be rich. Yeah, a lot of people just want to have a good job with a nice boss that creates magic moments for them. I talked about where to find people. I gave you some homework. If you haven't done it on Fiverr, you can go to another website. Yeah, try Elance, try Odesk. And I'm not sure what kind of person you need, but just do a test. Yeah, just do it. Just do the steps so that you start doing that kind of work. Testing and selection. It's a lot about aligning your mission with their mission, and then being a leader of that. So a way to test people is by giving them a personality test, but you can also try to feel out what kind of element they are predominantly, and that's a good way of knowing, what, if they're adaptable to that kind of work. Letting go is an important part of running a freedom business, allowing people to do the work, yeah, and allowing failure. It's okay, because failure is cool as long as you learn from it. For me, the golden rule is massive in business, and when I work with you, I'm always trying to add as much value as I can, because your success is my success. So that is the webinar on where to hire and when to fire. I hope you enjoyed it. The next webinar is next Tuesday at the same time. It'll actually only be in the evening, and I will be sending the replay to the people in Australia this time. Working with Filipinos is the first step there. We're going to talk about cultural issues, not cultural issues, but just different cultures, and we're going to talk about how much to pay Filipinos. There was meant to be the business autopilot webinar next week, but I've decided it should be outsourcing mastery, because I was speaking to a friend today, and he said, Erland, you've been outsourcing for 6 years. You know how to do this. You need to really show people the basic stuff that you know now. And I realized I really do need to go really back to basics and do the sort of the simple stuff, like how much to pay, how to transfer money, and the legal stuff. Part 3 will be about training, so basically a simple way of getting people to do things for you. And the fourth level will be getting started. So what you talk about on the first conversation with them, getting everything set up. And the fifth step will be the relationship building, and also what kind of habits are you going to have. Yeah, does the person need to work for you full time, part time, and also a bit about how often they should report to you. Do you want somebody full time, part time, whatever? So that's the outsourcing mastery course. We have 4 minutes for questions. Let's see. A question from Frederick here. I need to get someone on Elance to implement a data mining software implementation for me to help automate my keyword research. Right. So what you need to do is you need to go to Elance and put in a search. It's a fairly easy system, but I suggest, if you've done Fiverr before, that you jump on Elance, create an account, and get the word out there. I would actually outsource that to Eastern Europe instead of India. Um, there's a lot of people in the Ukraine, Croatia, and a benefit of that is that they're actually on the same time zone as you, so you can work in real time with that. Let's see. If I've already used Fiverr before, do I skip to the homework? You still get the homework. You just have to order a gig from somewhere else. Try one of the other ones I showed you. Okay, DVD cover, fantastic. So, any other questions? Just pop them into the questions box, and we can answer them straight away. I've got some good news for you. We are having a mastermind group on. I think we're going to start with that next Wednesday with the mastermind group, so that we can start. Basically, the way the mastermind group is that it's a webinar just like this, and you put in questions, and I basically answer them. So it can be questions about anything, anything about business, anything about outsourcing, automation, whatever. So we will start with that next Wednesday, and I'll send you an invitation. I'm also going to send you an invitation to the next webinar, which is next Tuesday at 8 o'clock UK time. Any more questions? Okay, well, let's see. What's the difference between Talent Dynamics tests from Wealth Dynamics? Okay, so Talent Dynamics basically tells you about you as a person, and Wealth Dynamics tells you more about where you are, who you are as an entrepreneur, right? So Talent Dynamics is you as a person. Wealth Dynamics is what level you are as a entrepreneur, basically. Is it worth going to the Philippines to meet the main person in my team as it develops? Absolutely, absolutely. I would do that. It's a beautiful country. They're very friendly, and I love going there. So yeah, absolutely go there and meet your team. Okay, here's a question. I posted a job on Elance for migrating my e-commerce data and receiving about 25 applicants of varying hourly rates. How do I choose? Okay, so you can probably, what I would do is I would choose the best one, and then I would try to negotiate a price. So maybe choose the best 3 people and negotiate the price and then do the deal with the best, what what you feel is the best match. Because if somebody's the best in the world, they might save you a lot of time, and it might be worth paying the extra money. But if you don't have the money, then you have to get the best person that you can. Let's see. Any other? Cool. You're welcome, Mark. No problem. I'm really glad you enjoyed it, Raheem. Rahima, sorry. I really enjoyed it too, and I look forward to working with you guys for the next couple of months, and the foreseen future. I really want to see you guys kick ass and start making lots of money. That'd be really cool. That would mean the world to me. Are you any more questions before we close the webinar? Where is the workshop going to be in London? Oh, good question. So it's at the 12th to the 13th of October. Just putting it into the chat box here. It's the Plaza Hotel Waterloo. It starts at 9 and finishes at 5 o'clock, and that's both Saturday and Sunday. So I just put that into the chat there. I really encourage you guys to come to the workshop, because in my experience, it's when you actually sit down in a group and you're physical with you're physically there, you get a lot out of it, and you'll be able to bounce ideas across with other people. And I actually have my programming team from Croatia coming to the workshop as well. So if you need programmers, they're a brilliant group of people to work with. So I hope you're all coming to the boot camp. It's going to be amazing, and there's more information coming on that this week. Yes, Rosa, you will be getting a recording of this webinar. I will be sending that out later, probably tomorrow. That will be sent out, and it's also going to be in the worklessearnmore.tv membership website that you have been given access to. Fantastic. You're welcome, Rosa. No problem. Okay. This was great. I wish you a really good evening, and yes, it will be a great opportunity to meet other students, Deepak. And it was really cool seeing you at the Ultimate Traffic Generation Summit as well. It's always good to meet in person, and that's why it would be great if all of you came to the boot camp, because I believe by working face to face, we'll be able to create a lot of miracles. Yes, Frederick, let's talk tomorrow. Frederick and I have a coaching call tomorrow, and if you want to book a coaching, then email Regina at mroutsource.com. It's in the welcome email, and let's get started on this. Fantastic. Looking forward to see you there, Mark. It's going to be great. All right, guys, I'm signing out here. Thank you for attending this webinar.